Hey everyone. I'm doing a little bit more of a spookier vibe now that it's spooky season, so yeah. And plus the glare was awful. So anyway, we'll wait for a minute here. Just so we can let's see here. Let's edit this. We have one more spot left in the event. If I can spell. There we go. We fixed it. Okay. Anywho, let's get. Okay, so this week, get all the stuff out of my way here. You know, wouldn't be one of my shows if I didn't have some kind of technical difficulty during the show. Huh. So yes, going for a more spookier vibe. Plus, we don't got all the glare in the background because, well, the room is way too small for to put my backdrops up. Unfortunately. Anywho, so I made a post on Facebook because I had absolutely no idea on what locations to do and what ones not to do. So I made a post on Facebook asking my Facebook friends on Facebook to pick a number between 1 and 175, and we got 3 locations, but the third one will be done next week. So this week is the Union Hotel and the Mont Vista Hotel. So the Union Hotel wasn't very known, and I couldn't find very much information on it, but hey, it all works. So okay. Go. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get right in onto it. 3 of my Facebook friends actually, and then one of the Facebook comments were actually one of the vendors for Perry Unity this year. So I'm super excited about that. They are called Trish's Country Candles and Crafts, I believe it is. I know it's Country Candles. And so they picked, he actually picked the Union Hotel. So, but like I said, the Union Hotel is not very known, actually. When I was doing my research for new locations and everything, this one came up as not a very known one. So if you guys actually know about the Union Hotel, make sure you let me know. So it is a 3-story building, up 1850s hotel. It was it offered first class amenities and warm hospitality to any of its guests. So, oh gosh, and it's in California. So it was found, like, the town of Benica was founded in 1847, named after the wife of General Valjo, who originally owned the land but graciously sold it for $100 to Lieutenant Robert Sample, a dentist by trade, and Thomas O'Larkin, a friend and settler. Hi, Kevin. And they started the town, and when the Union Hotel was there, like I said, it was 3 stories. And unlike other historical buildings around the area in California, this one never was allowed to follow into spare because it was one of the main hotels in Benica at the time. And so the first floor was the dining and bar. The second floor is where the second and third floor is where the guest rooms could be found. And the decor throughout the hotel combines with the finer qualities of California's past. Touches of I'm getting tongue tied. European elegance. Yeah, that's what I thought when I first found the location itself. Um, no small feature for older structures. In fact, the owners made sure that each room features a private bathroom with a jacuzzi, distinctive amenities, private phone lines, and period interior. So as time went on, they would like pretty much remodel it and make it to where um I just lost my train of thought. It's been a very long week for me. But it they made it to where it would be usable and not outdated. And of course, the suites had spectacular views of the water and spacious bathrooms with whirlpool jacuzzi tubs. So it was on a lakefront. It was a lakefront hotel. You could see the lakes from the hotel rooms, and it had a glorious view of the river, a natural bay, and a U.S. Army arsenal outpost. In November of 1847, there were 15 buildings, a wharf, and it had enough people to set up a local government. By the 1850, over 100 homes were already made, and the Pacific Mail and Streams Company decided to set its shops and wharves in Benica, providing a large source of jobs and income revenue for a booming city, despite the draw of the gold fever bringing many men to Central California. And 1850s were a time of much growth. The town itself became the first incorporated city in the new state of California, named by the Salo County, and housed California state capital briefly from 1852 to 1854, which attracted a lot of business. So the state of California was actually in Benica at one point in time before California got bigger, and then now it's not so much. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. So, just let everybody know, I am streaming on 2 different platforms. I'm streaming right here on Hi, Nick. Streaming on, of course, Facebook, and I'm also streaming on TikTok. So, just so everybody knows. So, if I'm not paying attention to either one screen, that's why. Where was I? It had many schools in the town, but it lacked of saloons and dance halls. So there was no saloons, no dance halls, or moral temptations. It was considered the oasis of civility. Serenity, culture, stark contrast embodied gold towns and simple villages surrounding them. Benica earned its name Athenas of California. So, not like I said, not a lot found on the Union Hotel, unfortunately. Like I said, it's not a very known location, and I searched and searched and searched for months for anything I could find on the Union Hotel. The only thing I could really find was the history of Benica, and it had a lot of different schools and businesses. So back on. So let's just get on. Yeah, send me a message. Shoot me a message. I would definitely. Yep, go ahead, Nick. Shoot me a message. So, on to the reporting hauntings of the Union Hotel. It said that there's two ghosts, two spirits that haunt the Union Hotel, a young man and a young woman. The young woman is reported in the 1800s. A young distraught woman hung herself in one of the rooms because of a heartbreak and despair, perhaps of a labor relationship, a common cause of emotional upheaval of young people, which can lead to a high drama moment. She is described as being a woeful in demeanor. She has been seen in full apparition going down the hallways and also several of the bedrooms. And she has been seen, being sad and out, like peering out the windows, facing the street during evening hours. They've heard her. People have heard her crying and talking to herself when the hotel is still empty. Lights turn off and on by themselves. As for the young man that's been haunting the Union Hotel, theory is that he is connected to her tragic story in some way. So when I found a video on the Union Hotel and I watched it, and they were talking about the young man and the young woman, and it in that video it said that when the woman had gotten to the hotel, shortly after that, a man had come into the hotel looking for this woman. And by then it was too late. She had already hung herself. So his apparition is seen in the bar area and in the dining room, sitting in a chair looking wistfully toward the stairs which led up to the floors above, or pacing back and forth waiting for someone he longs to see. So with that being said, yes, after, they said she was in this room and she wasn't in this room. Well, when she hung herself, he couldn't believe it. He sat in the bar, got drunk, and was watching the stairs to hopefully see her again. So, on to Mont Vista Hotel. That one is actually a little bit more known than the Union Hotel is, and it's not, but it's, like I said, it's not very known in the paranormal community, but it is off of Route 66 in Flagstaff, Arizona. And then, as we all know, Flagstaff, Arizona has so many different haunted locations. It's got the Birdcage Theater. It's got a couple different places, and they're all in a line, which is really weird. And it had opened on New Year's Day in 1927. And it is on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's been fully restored to its former glory. And it still continues to serve the traveling public today, along with playing host to numerous famous figures throughout the year. John Wayne, Big Grosby, and Harry Truman. It also apparently is home to a number of unearthly figures. And it is one of the very few American hotels built entirely from public taxes. And in 1924, a man by the name of V.M. Slifer spearheaded a local fundraising campaign to build the hotel. So it was built with taxpayers' money. One of the very few hotels built by taxpayers' money. Tourism was a burgeoning business in Flagstaff. Flagstaff is got all this stuff. It's, like I said, it's got a number of different haunted locations. And where lodging was too scarce to keep visitors in town to spend their hard-earned dollars, Slifer's efforts resulted in a city-voted ordinance that established a municipal bond to build the hotel. They didn't have a lot of places, so that's just why the hotel was built. It was actually voted to be built along Route 66. And after its opening, was popular not only among the tourists but also a favorite of the locals who quickly coined the phrase "Meet me at the Mont V." In its first year, the hotel hosted Mary Koenigs's daily 3-hour radio show from room 105, was the first American woman to be granted a radio broadcasting license, and then it was opened during the Prohibition era, and this didn't stop the hotel from ignoring the law and running a profitable bootlegging operation out of Flagstaff's most popular speakeasy. However, in 1931, the place was raided by local officials and shut down, only to resume business 2 years later when the finally came to an end. After 4 or 5 years, 1935 to 1940, the local lounge and lobby also offered its many guests a wide range of slot machines to choose from, the only ones ever in Flagstaff. So it was the only place that had a gambling thing in Flagstaff. So like I said, John Wayne, it hosted John Wayne. In the 1940s and 50s, Western movies became a choice of the American public, and more than 100 movies were filmed in nearby Sedonia and Oak Creek Canyon. During these times, the Mont Vista Hotel housed the famous actors and actresses that were filming these movies. Jane Russell, Gary Cooper, Spencer Tracy, John Wayne, and Bing Crosby. And in one of the rooms of the hotels, a scene from Casablanca was filmed. In fact, it was John Wayne who reported seeing one of the first hotel's ghosts in the late 1950s, describing the spirit as friendly. Its benevolent ghost evidently made a brief appearance in the movie star's room. And the address of this, and now I'm not for sure if they've changed it or not, but the address is said to be 100 North San Francisco Street. This. And it's 4 stories, and it's built in the Spanish colonial style of architect. And it is in the Railroad Edition Historic Downtown District in downtown Flagstaff. So there's a good thing. So, it has rounded doors and windows and other elements of this decor style, ornaments of terracotta and cast concrete, decorative iron trim, tile flooring, arcades supported by columns, and carved and molded capitals. And so in the 1970s, 3 men robbed a Flagstaff bank near the hotel, where one of the men was shot during their escape from the bank. Lying low and celebrating their successful robbery, the trio stopped at the Mont Vista Lounge for a drink. And, however, the wounded man's gunshot injury was obviously more serious than any of them anticipated, because before he could even finish his first drink, he died right there in the lodge. So, he was drinking, they were celebrating, and then all of a sudden, bam, he just, slumps over and dies. Because of the gunshot wound. And so, let's see here. Let's get back to this one. So, in upper levels it has pool tables and dartboards. So, so they did have underground tunnels in Flagstaff, and it was built by Chinese workers and other business people. And So when I was looking through and finding the research for the Mont Vista Hotel, there was a lot of different like articles on manifestations and like the paranormal aspects of the hotel itself. And I know on the top of like the roof of the hotel, it's got its name and like a big um sign type thing. It lights up and all that good stuff. So going on with that light, so it would a light atop the hotel served as an emergency signal for Flagstaff in the 1930s. Flashing, it would alert local authorities and citizens of hazards and catastrophic in and out around the town. The hotel's current neon sign, that's what I meant to say, neon sign, is still beckoning light for locals and travelers alike. Now, let's get back on to our paranormal aspects of the hotel. Like I said, John Wayne thought he felt, he seen somebody in his room, and there was a lot of people that came in and gone out of the Mont Vista Hotel. It was owned by the public until the 1960s, which it was sold to a private investor who continued to keep up the maintenance, and it was added on the National Register of Historic Places around 1973. And it has since been restored to its former glory as of 2018. So, there has been all kinds of strange phenomena that's been reported at the hotel by spirits who make noises, move furniture around, sudden appearances, ring the lobby's telephone, knocks things down. Both employees and guests have heard band music coming from the second floor lobby when there was no band playing. Reportedly, the staff has become so accustomed to the odd occurrences, that it's become a joke to them. Now, when I've seen that on multiple different websites, I couldn't help but get a little irritated about that, because why would you joke about it? I mean, I obviously, they're accustomed to it, they're used to it, but why would you go and joke about something like that and make jokes of it? And in room 210, called the Zane Grey Room, many guests have been awakened in the night by a phantom bellboy who knocks on the door with the statement that the room service has arrived. However, when the guests open the door and see nothing but an empty hallway, not even a glimpse of someone escaping down the long corridor, and then others are reported seeing the images of a woman who wanders the halls outside the room. Supposedly, the hotel avoids putting guests with pets in this room because dogs go crazy with fear and tear up the room. Yeah, the floor is evidently a hub of ghost activity. Is just down the hall in room 220. All types of strange activity is reported. Evidently, in the early 1980s, this room played host to an erotic long-term boarder who was known to hang raw meat from the chandelier. Sometime later, he died in his room, and his body was not discovered for several days. Today's guests often complain of hearing coughing and other noises from the otherwise empty room. At one time, after the maintenance man had made several repairs to the room, he turned off the light and locked the door. However, returning just 5 minutes later, the light was back on, the bed linen stripped, and the television broadcasting full blast. Sadie, do you like my background? I changed it. And then in room 305, ghost of a female apparition is often reported as sitting in a rocking chair. Further the cleaning staff moves the chair the next day, it will always reappear next to the window. So the chair is next to the window, and it, if like the cleaners move it, it'll move back by itself. And I've seen that quite a bit here lately in my research for everything. Thank you, Sadie, for sharing. I've been trying to get haunted memoirs out there more, so thank you for sharing. And this will be my background until after the event. So, and then the next one will go on. And then, so in the Gary Copper room, sorry, I accidentally skipped over one. Many guests have reported being unnerved by unsure feeling that someone was watching them. Reportedly, 2 prostitutes were murdered in this room when they were thrown out the window. The 2 painted ladies have also been reported sighted in the pool hall and the lounge. It's the largest publicly held commercial hotel in the history of America, and it did so in the 1960s. Let me find my other paperwork that has the rest of the. And you. Oh, thank you, Sadie. You're awesome too. So with that, with what I asked you earlier, I'm going to pull some of the files that I've already done and pull some files that I haven't done yet when the event comes up, and then I will have probably one of my episodes showing during that time. If that's okay with you, so that way people can see exactly like how I do what I do. Oh, where's it going? So, there said there's 2 different employees still working, even though they're no longer with us physically. I just talked about the bellboy, and then there is an elevator operator. And there are long-term renters / live-in staff who die in their very familiar room, sometimes choose to stay there. And then, all right. I'm super excited about that. Really, I think I know which locations that I'm going to pull. Some of my favorite locations that I've done. So, but I'm also going to pull a few that like I said, I haven't done. So if anybody wants to, that's good. I hope so. So if anybody wants to throw out a location or 2, I'm gonna do the few locations that I really like, and then I want to have some of the vendors that are going to be there or whatnot. Pull just throw out 5 different location names, either in the chat or whatever, and then I'll pull those. And then of course I have my binders with me. They can always flip through my binders. I just can't bring all of my files because that would be a lot of files to bring, and I'm not lugging my filing cabinet all the way to Peru. I'm sorry. Okay. There was prostitutes that came back, that came to the hotel. They did their thing, and then, like I said, they said that 2 of them had were killed. The red light district in Flagstaff used to be on the other side of the railroad station. During the 1940s, 2 young ladies, getting paid for sex, were taken to room 310 and doing their thank you thank. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And they were killed and threw their bodies out the window to make sure that they were dead. So, like, when I was going through this research and everything, I did find a couple other things on that. It said that they were robbed, strangled, and then thrown out the window. And then I seen that they were, the two girls tried robbing the clients, and the clients that defended themselves threw them out the window. There's been a lot of mixed things about what was said, but the one thing is that for sure, and anywhere I looked everywhere, was that these two women were thrown out of the window. So, um, sadness is that there was a couple of babies that were murdered after being born, and sometimes people can still hear them crying. Um, Something disturbing happened to a baby in the basement. Perhaps it could have been a prostitute's baby who was killed by the pimp or mobster. So, with that being said, um, for some reason I didn't save it when I went to do my research. Maybe it wasn't meant to be saved, but when I was doing my research, I remember seeing that a prostitute did indeed get pregnant, and she wanted to keep the baby, and her pimp told her, "No, you cannot keep that baby," and she ran and hid from him at the Mont Vista Hotel. Somehow, some way, he found her. It said that some of the other prostitutes had ratted her out to him. It said that he had people watching her, and they reported back to him. And then in the basement, she ended up giving birth in the basement, and the pimp ended up coming and making her kill the baby right in front of him. The underground tunnels eventually became a place of unsavory people, drug and illegal alcohol promoters, and sex trade pimps and the lawbreakers. Mob soldiers often themselves become a victim of the mafia. Employees of the mafia were sometimes killed just because they knew too much, or were killed by rival mobsters and did something really stupid and got caught, and they got murdered on the land. And there was a couple that got killed in some of the like a couple of the rooms. And then Big Louie type, there is a man apparition that has been seen. He has wandered from the tunnel, and that was a passageway to the Mont Vista Hotel. People died at the hands of another near or inside the building that is appealing. They can decide to stay there. And the story goes that in 1970, three men decided to get some easy money, they thought, by sticking up a nearby bank. One of the robbers was shot, of course, by the security guard, died. Thank you for the gift, Sadie. I really appreciate it. So, if I could get Haunted Memoirs to become big and I could be like able to do this every Saturday night and just make a living off of it, I would totally be there. I would honestly love that. Do what I love, sit at home with my babies. And so traveling, Sadie, you just reached number 3, fan level 3 in my fan club. I didn't even know I had a fan club. And children were often coming through the hotel, because it was the gold rush and everything, and it was like the only upscale type of um, the only upscaling type of hotel in Flagstaff at the time, and they had diseases and accidents and stuff like that, so they didn't have the type of like medical treatments like we do today. And sadly, they passed away in or around the hotel's property, and people can sometimes see their spirits stay where they died, perhaps looking for their parents or someone to play with. A spirit of a little boy is at has been seen. So we have the male spirit who died, who maybe dead banker, the bank robber, or someone else who loved the bar while alive. This fellow is friendly, cordial spirit who says good morning to both staff and patrons at the bar. It is he who is suspected of moving drinks and stools at the bar. Sorry. Um, then there is a dancing couple that is transparent, dressed formally, and they just dance around the dance floor up in the hi, thank you for joining. They could be residual energy as they never communicated with anyone still breathing. The bellboy, they are still delivering invisible food to guests who stay in room 210 and will yell room service. So nothing could actually be said of why the bellboy only goes to room 210. So I really wonder if there was somebody in that room the other time that he was alive that goes and he went there and he kept going there because it was somebody that was staying there for a very long time, and either was maybe a woman that he fell in love with and he died before he could confess it, or maybe he got murdered and he just comes back to do what he's supposed to do. But I could not find nothing on why it is said the bellboy only goes to room 210. He is friendly, and he will be standing there before fading away. People with pets are not given this room because, like I said, dogs will go crazy. And then now on to the elevator attendant. It appears as a solid live person. He asks, "What floor can I take you to?" He has been seen by guests, housekeeping staff, desk agents. He has been seen in the mirror in the elevator as the guest leaves the elevator. So he's still in the elevator. He's still taking people to their level, doing his job, being a nice guy. And the woman spirit, maybe it's one of the prostitutes that got murdered. Who knows? Ha! Just put two and two together. So the bellboy, okay, he goes to room 210, says room service. He goes there and people see him or they don't see him. And then all of a sudden, I just looked down. There's a spirit of a woman that wanders around room 210. I was thinking for the longest time when I couldn't find anything except for that one sentence was the bellboy had a crush on the woman that was in room 210 and never got to confess his love to her. Or maybe they had a thing going on during that time and one of them passed away and the other one couldn't handle it, so the other one took their own life. Like I said, I couldn't find really much of anything on the bellboy in room 210 and the woman of 210. And then there's another male guest, and it's a former long-term guest, apparently never left. He tried to hang, like, they're all meet in his room. When this room is empty, guests hear coughing, other noises that are loud enough to disturb and annoy them. And, the maintenance man had several repairs in 220, and when he left, he would come back, TV on, beds were stripped, and the TV was on full blast. And then a spectacular female tenant, her apparition has been seen sitting by the window and rocking in a rocking chair found in this room. And when the rocking chair is moved, it has moved by itself, and so scratching is heard in the closet. And then, of course, the two female prostitutions that we were talking about, they have been staying in room 310 where they were killed. And then female guests who stay in this room are sometimes awakened in the wee hours of the morning because of an intense feeling of being watched. A male guests who stay here get a taste of how the women were murdered. They suddenly wake, aware of hands over their mouths and around their necks, hindering their ability to breathe. It ends when they wake up. And recently, another male spirit has made himself known. He is known as the Shadow Man, stands over 6 feet tall, and is described as being menacing. He has stepped on the plate to be an unpaid specter supervisor, likes to oversee delivery men and staff who visit the basements. Creepy. And the child spirit is friendly and cheerful, may not know that he's dead, plays with in the halls of the Mont Vista Hotel, walks behind guests and staff in the halls, talking with someone. Some say his mother touches people on the hand. He is seen talking to someone, maybe it's his mom. And the friendly little spirit appears to children, perhaps looking for someone to play with, like I said. And then terrible cries of an infant in the basement to encourage quick access by the living. So that's like a lot. I have, researched a lot of places, and a lot of places do have a lot of history, and a lot of them do have a lot of like hauntings. So thank you, Sadie. Whew. Now on to updates. So, as we all know, I am the host for this year's Para Unity, and we have one spot, is it? Let me check. I don't want to give false information. Oh my gosh. I can't get... Whew. Things are falling. Yes. I still have one spot available for Para Unity, which is on October 25th of this year down at the Miami County Fairgrounds. I have one spot left. And with that being said, you guys can't see it here, but you guys can see it here behind me. Is the new flyer for the Fall Arts and Oddities Vendor Market down in Peru, Indiana at the Miami County Fairgrounds. Miss Sadie is the host. And yes, as you guys can see right there, Peppy will be there with me. And so if you want to come see Peppy and Sadie, I can't really talk about that part because my ghost will see it, and I don't want him to know. We already talked about that. So if you want to come by and meet Mr. Peppy, because he has become a really big celebrity for Sadie and me, but come by and you can see him. He will be there. He'll be with me at Para Unity, and then he also will be with me at the remaining events for the Lunar Vibes events. And as time goes on, you guys won't be able to see it here on Facebook, but TikTok, I will change my background to whatever flyer Sadie has at the time for each event. And then hopefully September 29th, I will be going over to Pearson, Indiana to help with a event over at Bar 13. I don't have any details for that yet. Still working on the details. But hey, it's all good. And then I'm super excited to say. Super excited. Super excited. Let me see if I can find them. Hold on here. Did I not? Does those not ones print out? I'm going to be a child. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to be a child. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. Whispers. Trisha's candles. Stacy. Ethan. On here. I'm trying to find something. Give me 1 second. Because we only got about 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left in the show. Miss Sadie. Oh, I'm gonna have to turn my. I'll be right. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn my background off. What in the world? Background. Okay. Miss Sadie, look. I know it's backwards, but and you guys can see also. So I finally got all the vendor badges made up. And Sadie, did you only need 2? Because I only made you 2. Do you need more than 2 or no? Just 2? Okay. So I finally got them all done. I love the way they felt. And they're laminated. And so they're going to be, the vendors can reuse them. And I'm going to be putting them in, I can get one out. Yeah. These little things, like the vendor holders. And the cool thing about these little guys is while they're laminated, they can be reused for years to come, is they have like a Ziploc baggie type of thing. So they can be completely like closed up and sealed so they don't fall out. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't even know that until I opened it up to see how it would look inside of the badge holders. But I got them all done. I went to get them all printed out. And my printer decided that it was going to run out of ink. So I got half of them done. And the other half, no, not done yet. Because I have to wait to get more ink. It's not hard. Not at all. So what you're going to want to do, Sadie, if you want to do that, I recommend this. Go and get these. And then go over to the Avery website, make an account, and then put in this number at the bottom corner, and it will be a template for you. And then you can design them yourself, and then when you go to print them out, it will do a PDF on it, and then you just print them out, and it's already like whatever it is, like it's easily like tear apart. And then if you wanted to, I have the laminator and stuff. I can laminate them for you and then cut them out and stuff. And then the badge holders that I got them off of Temu for like 100. There was 100 of them there. So, and then I finally got my computer to let me type the names of the vendors onto the list, the layout list. Background. Now I gotta find it again. Let's see here. There it is. There we go. So yeah. So I still need one more location for next week. I already got one, and that is the Idaho. Yeah, it's not really hard, and it's not very expensive. Literally, you can get that pack that I showed you. It's got 400 um, cards in it, and the template is so easy to do, and you can design them any way you want. So, the Old Idaho State Penitentiary is one location I have for next week. Next week, so I just need one more location. Somebody help me out here. I use I started using Avery when I did the start of the Christmas card exchange for no, I haven't. I have not done that one yet. I don't think. Hold on. Right, but the last time I knew it was closed. Well, look at that. Jesus. Yeah, we need to go. So, I guess we're going to do the Old Idaho State Penitentiary and Fox Swallow Farm next week. Farm. Why did I say farm? It's been a week. So, I would live there. I would. But when I looked it up last, it said that they found more remains on the property. But it doesn't surprise me. So what I will do is I will do this. Why? Because I would live in Fox Hollow or live in a haunted location. Is that what you're talking about? You know, one second. I think I actually have a book. I'm gonna turn the light on so it might be bright. Oh goodness. So, one of my favorite authors, Richard Estep, did write a book on Fox Hollow Farm. So, looks like I get to do some reading. Maybe, or I'll have my good friend Kat do it because she did it for Lizzie Bordenhouse. So, there, we got my next two locations. Yay! All right. So again, next week we are doing the Fox Swallow Farm, and we are going to do the Old Idaho State Penitentiary. So make sure you tune in next week at 8:30. And then also don't forget this in about. That's what you said. I remember that because I remember when we first met. You came to an event. Okay. Yeah, every couple weeks I do a recap on the places that I do. So, but if it's a really sought out location, then I will redo it. Um, yeah, Para Unity. We talked about it, and me and you were discussing it. I remember that because I told you not very many people think that I know what I'm talking about, and me and you got to talking about it. Yeah, you can be a guest. Why is that doing that? Oh my gosh! 1 second. Yeah, I can invite you to be a guest on the show. But yeah, so in about 2 weeks, 2 weeks, right? The 2 week, Robin, the 20th is in 2 weeks, right?
Let me look. 2 weeks from today?
Yeah.
Yes.
2 weeks from today, I will be. Oh, thanks, Sadie. 2 weeks from today, don't forget, it's going to be the Fall Arts and Oddities vendor market hosted by Lunar Vibes. Me and Mr. Peppy will be there. Um, and then hopefully on the 29th of this month, I'll be in Pearson helping out with that event. And then a week before Para Unity, I'll be back down at the Miami County Fairgrounds with Miss Sadie, Miss Lunar Vibe, Miss Lunar Vibes, doing that event. And then the weekend after, I will be at the Miami County Fairgrounds again for Para Unity. So I'm going to end the show here. Love you guys, and don't forget tune in next week for the Fox Hollow Farm and Oat Idaho State Penitentiary.